The following program is brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization.
Once you know these facts, again, it's THC, truth, history, consciousness. Once you know these facts, and if you don't support weed, and once you present these facts to someone and they don't support weed, you know, in fact, that you're talking to a fucking idiot. Check this stuff out. Mankind saw by the light of the hemp seed oil lamp longer than any point in illumined history. That statement right there is pretty powerful. So let's just stay there for a moment, because you don't hear people talking about that. I say that. Captain Cannabis is bringing you this information. So basically, since people have been on the planet lighting things on fire, they've been lighting hemp on fire, and they've been lighting weed on fire. So to not be able to do that when I want, when that's what helped us survive and compete and thrive, and the fact that we're not using it in America, the nation literally created and founded, and our progenitors got here because of hemp, and we're not able to grow it, that is the greatest conspiracy. There is nothing more evil than that. That is just straight up fucked up. Well, it's the Captain Cannabis Show, and today's special guest is Noel of GrassyNoel.org, and it is Sunday, 4/20. Yes, we did the show on time, May 25th, and today's show is in honor of Memorial Day, which is why we have this cannabis legalization, medical marijuana, and U.S. veteran advocate on the show. You know how we like to do it around here? Oh, yeah, gotta love it.
Well, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate it, Captain. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity, and you've seen what I've been doing, and you thought it was something that people should hear about. So I want to thank you a lot for being here, especially this great day, Memorial Weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you. Noel, a.k.a. Grassy Noel of www.GrassyNoel.org, is a disabled veteran of the United States Navy. And he really impressed me with what he did, putting his money where his mouth is in the movement. And he toured the country in his handicap accessible van that is decorated with a giant legalized medical marijuana message. And he went all the way to California, up and down the coast and back. And literally thousands of people saw that message, and everywhere he went, he made himself available to talk to people and answer questions as to why, not just as a U.S. citizen, but also a veteran, why he believes he should be entitled to get medical marijuana. If we could show the van, this thing definitely makes an impact. It's a big, huge Ford van, and it's got a giant cannabis leaf on it, and the message is very clear. And he recently updated it to include information for Vote Yes on 2. Our fellow Floridians know that there's a big campaign of liars against us who are trying to spread disinformation about why this plant should be medically available. And we're here to tell you why that's bullcrap and let you know that real people with real needs are the people who are targeted with this law, and we are asking you to help individuals like Noel, other people suffering from serious medical conditions. That's who's going to be able to use cannabis legally when we vote yes on 2. So don't believe the lies and the disinformation out there. But for all those tuning in for the first time, the Captain Cannabis Show is a weekly show that airs on talkwadstudios.com/Captain Cannabis every Sunday at 4:20. It is an 18 and up show intended for mature audiences. We do not promote the use of cannabis for children or underage people. So if you're under 18, thanks for checking us out, but you can go do something else right now. This show is for adults, mature audiences. We try to lead by example and let people know that, hey, it's time for an intelligent debate about medical marijuana in Florida, across America, and the planet. We do have some promotional consideration we wanted to share with you. The Captain Cannabis Show is brought to you by the Witch's Brew Eatery in Palm Harbor, Florida. And if we could share some of their stuff. Now, if you're in Florida on the sun coast of Pinellas County, you're down here on vacation, and you want to get that real homey experience of a place where they're, it's just not a corporation, it's not a chain. It's got that mom and pop feel and vibe. The Witch's Brew is that place. The food is made with love, and it's good for you. Amazing local talent. Musicians, artists, drum circles, coffee, beer and wine. But this is where you go to meet other cool, like-minded people. And every Tuesday, every second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of the month, all summer long, we're doing a Learn About the Herb series. Myself, other people who frequent the establishment are there, and we're watching more videos and sharing more information about hemp and cannabis, So come on down, check us out. And check out the Witch's Brew. And while you're there, be sure and try a hemp seed cookie or brownie, and ask for the Chronic, which is a health potion made with hemp, and it was made in my honor. So make sure you ask for one of those. They're delicious and nutritious. So Noel is our special guest today in honor of Memorial Day, and you are clearly someone fighting for your right to medicate yourself in the privacy of your own home with cannabis. And my understanding for you, it's to treat pain, swelling, and discomfort, and the things associated with having lived in a wheelchair for many years.
Correct. Yes. When I first got hurt back in '93, came to Tampa, did my rehab. The veterans down there, when I went down to find out how they were going to treat their spasms or pains, because I had also not only my back but had endured other injuries. So I found out they were smoking marijuana, or they were doing pills, or a combination. And so I chose the latter, to smoke marijuana, because I saw what it was doing to the veterans. I saw the life expectancy was reduced to about 5 to 7 years before they were coming in the hospital with liver and kidney damage. With marijuana, they were able to sustain life. They had a quality of life. Guys were doing things. This made a big impact on me. Like, why would I take something that's going to make me lethargic, make me clog my kidneys and liver, make me that I already have a problem now being crippled, which, quite frankly, I'm very honored to be called that. I have no problem with the word crippled myself, but to be like that, I have to treat this myself. I did listen to the people above me. I believed in them. They are the ones appointed to look after my health, but their prescriptions and their drugs were not for me. You know, they were not going to be something that would sustain what I would call a quality of life. And so I've been a criminal for 23 years now.
Wow.
Since 1990, excuse me. So I served my country, but yet, and it's really been an interesting travel, because it's not only that, it really does affect, when you make this decision, it affects all the way down to family. And I got to tell you, being and believing in this, it really puts a person through the ringer and their testing of the people that they love and love them. But you have to, if you believe in it, if you know how true it is and what it does for you, you're just going to do it. You take the chance, and that's what I've been doing. I know it, but I decided 10 years ago, when a major event happened to me, that that's what I was going to do with this. And this is the way I had to live. I couldn't be quiet anymore. I had to let people know.
as you know, I can totally relate. And that's pretty much when the captain was born in 1993. And you made it very clear. You're in pain, severe traumatic injury. I don't know if you could call it post-traumatic stress disorder, but if you're in a car wreck, or if you're shot, or if you have any type of major injury, doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be from a war type situation. It could still warrant the use of cannabis to treat PTSD. But what you saw is you went into the VA and they presented to you pain pills. But what you learned is that other veterans were getting benefits from something not made available from the VA, but spoken about in the underground. They're like, hey, brother, you know, you're in a wheelchair now, man, and they're going to give you these pills, and that's all good, but you might want to consider this stuff over here. And what you saw is the people using this stuff over here, which is illegal, and it's just a plant. These people had a better quality of life. They were coping with their condition better. So to you, it was a very simple choice.
Sure. And also, and I'd like to mention, too, that they also increased on prescription. They increased their medication. I saw guys every 8 hours chewing 8 to 10 pills. I mean, chewing with no water. That to me, you know, they're down to that point where they don't have an effect. They're just chewing them to chew them. And all that filling and all that extra that's going in the body that's polluting them, you know, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't fathom doing that to myself. It just didn't seem like a proper way to do it. So,
have you ever overdosed on cannabis?
No, you can't. I mean, you know, I'm glad to say that. You know, I mean, I can't say I've ever tried heartily, but you know, I've been a few places, and I got to say that touring the world, going to cannabis cups and seeing the abundance of it, yes, I've had the pleasure of there being such an abundance of it, but I wasn't, you know, didn't affect me in the thing. Didn't even think that I could drive bad, to be honest with you. But, you know, I do like to medicate myself. Yes, if I have to say I'm walking around or rolling around medicated all the time, yes, but there are a lot of people on prescriptions doing that and really not in a mindset. So I do feel like I do have control of my facilities, too. And that's another thing. When you take these drugs, they make you lethargic. I don't want to wake up in the morning and take 8 Valium and be knocked out till 12 o'clock. So, you know, here goes back to a quality of life.
Yeah.
You
know? I'm sure you saw the news, but in 2014, there was a decision by the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, which truly surprised the medical cannabis advocates, who for many years have struggled to secure federal approval for research into cannabis plants' many medical uses. So basically, what happened this year is our government said that we are going to allow testing on medical marijuana for veterans battling PTSD. So what transpired this year is this is huge. This is a first. So instead of just having the pills, which you personally witnessed are damaging people's lives, now our government is saying, hey, PTSD is very serious. These veterans are coming back. They need help. What we have available now isn't working. We're seeing, we're going to test the efficacy of the plant to see how beneficial it is, because I'm sure they're getting feedback from veterans like you who aren't scared to tell the government, I want the weed, give me the weed, that's what we need. And that's sentiment has been shared throughout the community, so it looks like they're going to give it to them.
Well, the whole thing in the VA has been, in my perspective of it now, this is my perspective as a veteran, is that when I was going through it, being in the 90s, they already knew that. There are some things they knew that they told us when we became disabled or crippled, as I say, that would help us. One was, you know, you learn about marijuana. We didn't learn that from a doctor's, but we did learn. A doctor would tell us, hey, every once in a while, drink a beer. That helps on UTIs. So there's things out there that you necessarily can't put out that people are research that do help. Yeah. I mean, beer is
under
also
the table information.
Right, exactly. And this is the case with marijuana. They knew it was. They looked the other way. This was helping the vets. So the people in the VA, the nurses know. But there's also, they're in a position because of there, they have to say, you can't talk about it. And I've been told that too. Don't talk about that while you're in here. For years, I would tell them I'm taking cannabis. They could not put it on the computer in the VA because it won't accept the word. They marijuana, cannabis, it won't go in there. So that's what she told me. She says every time I type it erases it. So lately now they've been asking me, oh, I see you smoke cannabis. So for the last couple of years, I guess they've been able to put it in. So they understand it's changing, it's happening. But again, it is the wheels, the people that see it are in focus. It's bringing everybody else to that picture. And that's what's happening right now. So unfortunately, it's great that it was happening. At least people were taking care of themselves, but they had to do it in a criminal sense. And now we're bringing it out to, hey guys, this works. And we have to think cost efficient too in the healthcare area. Absolutely. It is a very good cost efficient medicine.
Yeah, I mean, you can grow it. So what's going on is there's been a recent proposal from the University of Arizona, and what they said is, hey, we'll do this study. We know what's been going on and talked about hush-hush and under-the-table information, but let's put a light on this. Let's test the real efficacy. Let's get some veterans in here, and let's test this plant and see how it's really benefiting them. And let's go beyond banned words and information that's stated but forgotten. Let's just document this. Let's research this. Let's do this legitimate. So what recently transpired is a proposal from the University of Arizona was long ago cleared by the Food and Drug Administration, but researchers had been unable to purchase cannabis from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Now, the National Institute on Drug Abuse is an organization that studies psychedelics, narcotics, everything from psilocybin mushrooms to cannabis to cocaine, because all of these things are from nature and throughout history have been used by native peoples to treat people medicinally. So this organization is the one organization in America that can clear who gets what for what study. So they worked with the State Department and they worked with the Department of Health and Human Services, and they allocated the cannabis that has been growing in Mississippi for many, many years. And a lot of people don't know that, but our government grows cannabis and has been growing it for over 50 years. High quality bud, a real good variety. And actually in Florida has more citizens who get government cannabis than anywhere else. We actually have 3 people right here in Florida who get government cannabis, and it's coming from Mississippi.
Isn't G13 a government strand? So
yes,
anyways,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They know what's good. They know the good stuff. And the unfortunate part about it is that since there's such a demand, since this proposal was approved, that they cannot fulfill the requests from all the centers to treat it. So they had to fight to get it in Arizona. And where we left off, and what I'm curious about is how much weed is available, how many veterans are in the study, what exactly is going on, what are they testing, what are the conditions they're testing. You know from personal experience how it benefits you, but my whole question is, why did this just fall off from the media? They make this big statement, we're going to allow cannabis to be used by veterans in a study to see how it benefits them, and then that's the last thing you hear about it. Isn't that so typical in the news? Yeah,
but anything that they got to slide under that they're really not behind, they've got to by the way, and then on with the cat in the tree, because it's part of the diversion, part of everything they keep going. They're recognizing it's coming around, but in very limited ways. You still don't have the whole country, till it's legalized. We're not done till 50 or 1. That's what I say.
I agree with that. I feel the same way. I'm not going to stop fighting here in Florida when we get medical. We need medical across all 50 states for veterans as well as citizens.
Sure. What are they going to do about a prescription for me when I go travel the United States to go back to get into this? After Florida, I'm turning back to the United States too. If I have a prescription, how are they going to be able to legally, incarcerate me? Mm-hmm. I mean, it has to be a recognized prescription throughout the United States. So, and states are seeing it. Plus, the money they're losing. Mm-hmm. No more the millions and billions of dollars, and states just need it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's going on in Colorado is the model for success that the rest of the nation will follow. And the only people crying about it is, there's organizations that get our tax dollars and they have drug treatment programs, and they meet state quotas for doing these drug treatment programs. And you have sheriff's associations, and you have sheriffs who make good money, but they really like busting people for cannabis because they're not the violent criminals, unless, of course, they're associated with some Mexican cartel. But generally, the average cannabis user, you can't compare them to a heroin dealer or a cocaine dealer or a MDMA dealer or a methamphetamine dealer. I mean, they're generally people who just want to get a plant in the hands of people. It's not even looked at or treated as a drug unless you get into the big money cartel business. Which can easily be destroyed literally overnight as soon as they legalize. And that's already happening. I mean, the Mexicans and the Colombians are like, why should we grow cannabis? Because it's legal in America. They can get it there. They don't need us anymore. So we're already winning on that front as well. I'm honored to have you here for Memorial Day. And when I saw your van, it blew my mind. I was like, this guy has balls. I got to meet him. I got to talk to him. It's been an honor, all the conversations we've had, but I really want to know more about what's going on in this study. The Department of Health and Human Services previously cleared the purchase of medical cannabis by the study's chief financial backer, the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, which supports medical research and legalization of cannabis and other drugs. However, calling cannabis a drug is kind of like calling apple cider vinegar a drug. You know, it's a plant, doesn't need to be processed like cocaine, doesn't need to be processed like heroin, isn't turned into things like Vicodin or Percocet. It's just a plant. It's cut. It's dried. It's ready to go. Totally safe. No overdoses. As you can state, just by looking at your face, your eyes are bright and clear. And if you compare someone to these legal prescribed pills, they're just in a zombie-like state.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. And that's the difference with marijuana. I do get back to a quality of life. I'm allowed to function, I'm allowed to be in life, enjoy life. I defended this country for 7 years. I defended the Constitution. Now I'm out to enjoy it. Why would my VA, and my problem is the VA seems to set up, along with these prescriptions, and you talk about treatment for PSTT, that also along with this, that seems like they're really not caring about my quality of long life. It's things that are going to make me ill or give up, because that's what seems to map to most of these veterans. Most all the guys I rehabbed with are dead. Mm-hmm. They're gone. They gave up. The pills got them, coming in the hospital, not taking care of themselves, whatever. But it really wasn't geared, Mm. And I don't think the American people know that so much that afterward they think, well, there's a program for it. The president signed that they'll treat it. But here's the thing. The VA is not qualifying many veterans with this PSTD, so they're not treating them. Because as soon as I qualify you, I have to treat you. Yeah. So the president signing this bill is great, but will the VA carry through and make sure the veterans are qualified who are qualified to get treatment? That is our blocker.
That is the focus of the show, folks. And recently, if you follow TV or the blogosphere, but what recently came out is a spokesperson for the White House, Jay Carney, said that Obama learned about situations in the VA administration, oddly enough, Arizona, where this study is supposed to transpire, but literally veterans died under the watchful care of the Veterans Administration. And if you do the research, the due diligence, you'll see that Obama was made aware of this because this problem existed forever under Bush, under previous presidents. But since the VA was set up, it has not fully committed to providing the quality of care that a veteran has earned. You earned your right. You defended the country. That's what you get out of the deal. And now this is coming to light with veterans dying who should not have died with just basic quality of care. That's what's really scary. And that's the point of this show is, okay, cannabis aside, they're already dying. They already need better care. This guy's living proof that self-medicating with cannabis, he's alive, he's healthy, he's happy, he's productive, he's doing stuff. Whereas the care that they're getting from the VA, people are they're literally on drugs. They're on pills, and like you had stated, they're gone in the head already. So the point of this show is to show you yet again another living example of how a plant naturally occurring when used legitimately by this individual, it's great, it's miraculous, it's healing, it's helpful, and it doesn't have all the side effects that the legal prescribed drugs do. So follow the money trail. You know, that's what we want you to do. And join us. Keep up the fight. President signing off on this one study in Arizona where people are already dying in the legal system, the legal VA. It's not good enough. I want to know how much cannabis is being used. Why is there a shortage? Why have we been growing weed in Mississippi for 60 years and there's not even enough to help the veterans? It doesn't make any sense. How many millions of dollars are spent every year for the Drug Enforcement Agency to literally burn billions of dollars worth of weed? You know, we have to pay money to import it from Canada and literally work with drug cartels to get cannabis to treat our own veterans, when right down the road they're burning it, you know? So you have taxpayer dollars being wasted on prohibition, which does not work, and then we don't have enough materials available in the study to help the veterans who deserve the best quality of medical care available because they paid their dues. That's your contract when you serve the military. That's what you're entitled to. They're not getting it without cannabis. You're living proof that cannabis works as medicine. So we need your help. This is proof that we need Yes On 2 in Florida.
Definitely. No, you hit it right on there with the veterans. I mean, this country has asked, or these men and women have volunteered to go do something for you, whether it was under business and they screamed freedom for whatever reason. But you have put these human beings from this country, citizens, in horrific conditions, living horrific lives, dealing with the most horrible visions that a person could probably deal with. And then you bring them back. You should have at least the decency to try to bring back the poet that you extracted so much of the warrior out of.
Wow.
And that is the problem here. We are not letting human beings, our own citizens, and these men and women are coming back, and we need to make them poets again. We need to get them creative. We need to get them back in life. And this is our duty. We are all soldiers of the Constitution, every civilian. And I put it to everybody, you have a job here in America. It's not that you can't sit by and not do anything. You are a soldier of this Constitution. If you believe in freedom, you're a soldier of the Constitution. Everybody. And it's the job of the civilians, just like the women in World War II who took care of the country while the men went. Well, when you're home, take care of the country.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
They still serve. And
everybody serves.
Yeah. We're all veterans. I don't mean to disrespect anyone who served in the armed services, but I'd like to state that I am a veteran of another war, and it's the longest lasting war in human history, and it's the failed drug war. And the only benefactors of the drug war are pharmaceutical corporations, sheriff's associations, and drug dealers. And these people no longer deserve your hard-earned cash. We're already suffering economically. Cannabis provides economic stimulation without question. You cannot argue it. Colorado has lowered their crime rates, increased their tax base, and if that was allowed to happen in other states, we could turn this country around. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I totally agree with you. I think Americans themselves, civilians, have lost that thought that they are a veteran. They are a part of this country, and there is so much dysfunction and separation with people as it is with computers and be yourself, talk about you, make you, with the way we have open to the world. So hopefully with the opening of the internet and everyone talking, that it does congeal back to something where we start doing something about it. We take the action because everybody is talking about it. And and we need it. People, we need it for our veterans. I can't say enough about these guys and gals, what they do for our country.
Absolutely. We have a guest or a fan of the show, Sherry Sheffer, and she put together some videos for us, and we're going to try to run some loops of those. One of the videos talks about early voting days, and then the other one is talking about Vote Yes on 2. Now, if you want to take action, if you want to make a difference, if you want medicine available to citizens, if you want medicine available to veterans, if you want to make money legally without hurting anyone in your state, and trust me, whether cannabis or marijuana, whatever you want to call it, is legal or not, people are still going to be using it. So look at what's happening in Colorado. Just over the course of 1 year, people are smoking weed before it's legal. People are smoking weed after it's legal. What's the difference? Well, the difference is tens of millions of dollars are going back into Colorado. Teachers are being paid more. Bridges and roads, which are in need of repair, are being repaired. new tax base, new income. People are going there. Jobs are popping up. And the level of creativity and spontaneity that made America great has once again been ignited in Colorado. And people get confused. They say, oh, if you're voting for marijuana legalization in Florida, it's just for recreational. That is not true. Yes on 2 is specifically for medical. It is the strictest write-up of legal medical marijuana in all of the nation. It is more strict than California. It's more strict than Colorado. It's more strict than Canada. It's very strict. It's a very, very definitive line drawn in the sand. And please don't believe the lies from the people who stand to lose millions of dollars. Mel and Betty Sembler are the biggest anti-cannabis supporters on the planet. They take our tax dollars and they go against the will of the people to spread lies and disinformation about this plant. And myself, Noel, so many other people I have met in my battle, on my journey since 1993, what I'm seeing about people who use cannabis is they're not the way we're demonized, and everyone says we're lazy and we're slackers and we're dumb, and that's just not truth. We're the creatives, we're the leaders, we're the thought leaders, we're the ones solving the problems.
Well, how would the fight be going on if we were all lazy and lethargic? You know, where would the fight be? This is the people that are believing. This is not just people who believe in us. These are the people who are experiencing it. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's it's quite a joke there, but they have to. Mm-hmm. I've always said there's only 2 reasons why you won't believe in medical marijuana. You're either ignorant, which is fine, I can tell you about it and teach you, or you're involved in the drug trade. Yeah. You're involved some way in keeping it that way, that you're benefiting, whether you know it or not, you're benefiting from it. So, there's nobody in their right mind of a decent IQ who sits down and looks at the information, talks to people, sees what's done, could be against it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'd have to be just an evil person in your heart, to me, just to be that horrible to another human being. Mm-hmm. I mean, this stems from people dying from cancer, people that were dying and finding this, not just a quality of life. So we're fighting for people that have come and gone, and it's an honor to do it, and on a weekend like this to talk about it, Captain. But it's a serious subject that I hope this November everybody really takes serious. I mean, we are really going to say a lot about it. So
honor your veterans. Honor your fellow citizens. Do what's right. It's outlined in the Bible. The studies are proving the effectiveness of the use of the plant for not just PTSD, but for treating cancer, epilepsy, ALS, a variety of conditions. And you had mentioned something earlier in the broadcast, like the poet, the mindset. And it's great. They're talking about treating veterans with PTSD. That's a physical trauma. But what about the psychological trauma? The horrors of war. Even if you don't get shot, don't get burned, an IUD doesn't blow up by you, your brother might die, your sister might die, you might have to kill somebody. The psychological effects, not just what you see, but what you do, but the mental trauma also, in my opinion, warrant the use of cannabis, because cannabis is a powerful medicine. And this is people who don't get weed. This is where they're just dumb and dead wrong. It makes you sleep, makes you stupid. Hello, wake the funk up, people. Check this out. It's supposed to make you sleep because that's when the human body heals, And so if you're someone new using powerful cannabis for the first time and you sleep for 4 hours, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what it's supposed to make you do. That's when the body heals and repairs, when the brain is shut down and you're sleeping, and all these cells can get up and do their magic and break down the cannabis and combine it with vitamins and minerals and really produce healing on a genetic level. That's when healing happens, when you're sleeping, when you're out. And that's what cannabis does. And that's where so many people are wrong. It's like, it makes you dumb, makes you sleep. It's healing you. Go to bed, take a nap, smoke 2 of these, and call me in the morning. That's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Right. Well, yeah, it's a lot better than other things. You know, everybody always compares. You go down to alcohol or anything else compared to what you have to do. But that's the truth about marijuana. It's safe. Nobody wants to really admit that how safe it is. I always laugh. I'm my own personal journey when I believe in a higher power. But I always say this is God's ultimate sense of humor. It won't kill you. It has so many uses. It doesn't have one use. It has 165,000 industrial uses. Mercedes is already using them as bumpers and dashboards because the bumpers, hemp bumpers, plastic last longer. I mean, you're seeing it already in the industry, cost-wise, last longer, everything. It's returning to it because these man-made chemicals that they're making just aren't living up to it. Plus, also, the waste. I think that's another thing we're moving in. With hemp products, we're going to be a lot better on our recycling, which is another big issue.
Absolutely.
You know, with us in this country or in this world.
Yeah, so again, the message of the show is very simple. Our motto is THC, truth, history, consciousness. And guess what? Whether you believe it or not, whether you support it or not, a pothead is going to save the planet. So join us. It's a lot more fun. Trust me. The food's better. The entertainment's better. You're going to laugh more. You're going to live a better quality of life, get better sleep. They say sleep's important. They say laughter's important. What do you do when you smoke weed? You get thirsty. You know, we're all dehydrated, you know, so it's like all of the early symptoms of medical disease, you know, are handled by cannabis. Just, you know, first puff. Oh, I'm going to laugh. You know, laughter's the best medicine. I'm going to want to eat something. And when you smoke, you know, a normal salad's going to taste better. You know, a lot of people fall victim. They eat the junk food with the chemicals in it. But, man, I notice when I partake, I just want to eat life-giving food. I want to eat grapefruits and avocados and make food and just you know, eat stuff that's alive, because that's how I feel is more alive. You know, and then I know I'm going to sleep good and I'm going to be de-stressed. So it's literally all the stuff that's killing us. If you want to look at the modern slave, the office worker, the 9-to-5 guy, you're under constant trauma all the time, and cannabis helps you fight back. So really, medically, the best overall treatment is preventative medicine. And for me, cannabis truly is preventative medicine for all the ills of the modern lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. In the years to come, you're going to find it everywhere in your household. It's going to be your cooking oil. It's going to be in your medicine cabinet. It's going to be in oils you're using, even in your garage or what you're working with. It's going to be a basis for a lot of things because it's a product. I mean, we can extract oil from, well, a fuel, you know, right there. It has so many uses from a plant that you can't get anywhere else. Oil's extracted from dinosaurs down the ground. We're getting into a situation with that. So, you know, we have to look at new sources, and hemp is the future. So,
and it's also the past. And my
yes,
theory,
it is. Yes, it is.
My theory on petroleum is that it is the Earth's fecal material. So you wonder where the disease comes from. Well, look back in history when disease really became a big money maker. But literally, the biggest money maker on the planet is petroleum industry. Number 2 is pharmaceutical industry. You can't have one without the other. I say get rid of both with hemp and cannabis.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're doing. And of course, that's where the money is. So who you're trying to fight, you know? You're fighting inevitability. But more people are knowing, more people, things like this are happening. As this happens, this is going to create a social structure change, and it's just more people are coming to clear view is what I think. You know, everybody's a little out of focus. They don't really see it. You and I, a long time ago, and people around this world have seen it, understand it, clarity, understand how good it's going to be. Feel it. Yeah, we live it. We know it to be true. I mean, it's the truth of it. And it's getting those people there. And change, like anything else, people are reluctant. It's hard. But we're winning. The fact is,
yes,
we're winning. We are winning, and we're going to win here in Florida. And
grinning and winning, and we're not sinning.
That's right,
baby. I just thought of a question I wanted to ask you in regards to Memorial Day. Do you have a specific statement to your fellow veterans? Because what I've experienced with some veterans, very honorable, venerable people, but hey, guess what? Anyone can be brainwashed. And we've been lied to about cannabis for so long. As I've met people I have a lot of respect for as a veteran, and I don't dole out respect. I don't salute you just because you're a veteran. Respect to me is it's a one-on-one basis. You know, just because you served our country, or you're a this, or you're a that, or you have some title, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't just throw respect out, you know. If you're worthy of earning my respect, I'm going to try to earn your respect, and hopefully it's the feelings mutual, you know, but I just don't dole it out. But what I've seen with regards to some veterans, are they're just so anti-cannabis. Now, being a veteran, being someone who's needed cannabis, shows how it works for you. Do you have a specific message or statement to fellow veterans about cannabis?
Well, most of the veterans I run into that might ever be against it really comes with the lack of knowledge. Like I said, the only two reasons that when I come down and talking to someone, because on a one-on-one basis, you can always do great with someone. So when I do get those opportunities that I meet somebody with a different view, I love to attack that. I'm attracted to that because I want to find out why. Most of the time, and I got to say 90% is ignorant. They've really gotten bad information. It's where it comes from. And the other side is if they're against it, if they're just against it, just saying no, that doesn't, no, that doesn't, they're just trying to make an argument. They don't present any information to support their side. They just say no. They're just being a wall with it.
They've been brainwashed.
You've been had that, right, and until, well, I'm experiencing something now with a family member that has a serious illness, and she herself does not believe or really what I have to say, but what a doctor has to say, she'll believe. And then she's been taking Marinol since, which is helping her. But that's what I found. It's certain people, like you said, you don't give respect just to anybody, but some people do. Some people won't listen to a family member, but they'll listen to a doctor in a white coat who's a stranger.
Yeah.
That I can't understand. That's a sense of brainwashing that has nothing to do with military. That's a sense of society. So people have that too. People are brought up too. And I think another thing is, some people, if you say something, it actually goes against what their parents taught them, and they think they're being disloyal to their parents. And the fact is their parents didn't have all the right information. They were just doing the best they could at then. So, there's that part of it too. My mom and dad told me that was bad. And you have that carry on with some people. So I mean, indifference, there's a small group of people, yes, but most people that I've ever met that had any question about it, it was usually ignorance, and I've left them enlightened, at least neutral, and I've got to be happy with that,
Yeah. Another question I had for you was, they're doing this study in Arizona. Personally, I don't feel that's enough. One school, one study. I'm waiting to hear back from the guy. Basically, the MAPS organization has been working for 20 years to start marijuana drug development research. And this is the first time we've been granted permission to purchase marijuana from NIDA. The Boston-based group said in a statement, the federal government has never before approved medical research involving smoked or vaporized marijuana, according to MAPS. So I found out MAPS online, and I emailed them, and I tried to talk to this guy, Brad. I guess he's out for a 3-day weekend, but I recently reached out to Brad at MAPS and asked him the following questions. First thing I want to know is this the only veteran cannabis study? That was my first question. The next question was, is the University of Arizona testing veterans with cannabis? And if so, what type of cannabis? Because all the stuff in the news was very, very broad, very general. I want to know the specifics, because if they say cannabis and it's just Marinol, that's not a real study.
Right. Right. You're right.
The other question is, whom do you talk to at the school or university to find out more? I spent 40 minutes on the University of Arizona website. I couldn't find anything. So I don't know if they want that on the school, if that's like something they considered bad or misleading to students, like, hey, kids smoke pot at the University of Arizona, so I didn't find anything. Right. Maybe they have a separate website, but I want to know, who do I talk to there? How do I find out more? Who do I follow up with? Next, what was your organization's role in securing the cannabis? I want to know how that goes down. A lot of people might have heard for the first time that our government has been growing cannabis for 60 years in Mississippi, lots of it. Our government has been mailing cannabis at taxpayers' expenses to 3 people in Florida, more than any other state. And my understanding is it's about at least 4 people I can confirm still receive cannabis in the mail from our government, and it's grown in Mississippi, and it is good stuff. Finally, how much cannabis was used in the study, and are there other locations helping veterans with this similar type of research? And then finally, how many veterans are in the study? So I'm waiting to hear back. I'll give you an update. Hopefully this guy will call me or email me, but I'm going to stay on them because I really want to know more about what's going on. I'm not one of those people who gets a headline on Facebook or on news on the website, and it's like, oh, great, they're helping veterans with cannabis. I don't accept that, because usually it's a bunch of BS, and it's just a headline to distract the people. So I'm really going to do my due diligence, follow up with Arizona, follow up with this organization who supposedly procured the cannabis, and I want to know the nitty-gritty. what is really going down. So as soon as I get updates from MAPS and this organization and hopefully make a connection with the people running the study at the University of Arizona, I'll be able to share it with you, the people. In the meantime, I'll tell you that I've known this individual for many years, and he is bright, cheery, healthy, happy, loving, kind, hardworking, generous, a veteran who uses cannabis, and he's freaking awesome.
Wow,
so
thanks.
I know
you.
that it works for him. I believe it's going to work for other people, and I'm learning more and more every day about cannabis for psychological use. So it's like you see or witness some horror, and you might be physically fine, but man, your head ain't right, and cannabis can help reset those neurological switches. And then, of course, the pain, the inability to sleep, it's a well-known fact in the medical community, those who have studied that cannabis has anti-inflammatory, benefits and uses. And being someone who gets around in a wheelchair, you need that, period, point blank. If that was the only reason you needed to use it, that's justification right there. Because being in a wheelchair, you're going to have some pain and stiffness that we're not aware of, walking around. Taking that for granted,
and still be able to function. I mean, I always tag that on there, and still be able to function. That's the whole point about this behind the medicines.
So you're in a wheelchair, but you drove here in your van. Totally fine.
Just like I drove all over America and Canada. You bet.
And I know from personal experience, the one time when I had foot surgery and I took one of those pain pills, I was gone. I was a zombie, and it wasn't even that strong. I'm not. That's not my stuff. I'm not into pills. I hate that stuff. But I remember I had foot surgery on my big toe because in college I kicked a football and it split my toenail and it popped out the side of my toe. Yippee. And I had my foot and bone and toe, everything operated on. And I remember they gave me the Tylenol with codeine.
Yeah.
And that, again, is an opiate derivative. And I remember just taking a couple of those. I thought I was walking on the moon, man. It was so crazy. I'm not into the pills. That's not my vibe. I would much rather treat the pain and
I agree.
Fight the inflammation.
To find it
cannabis.
naturally, I myself, I'm not totally against, because I think pharmaceutical has its place when you're in a hospital. I'm glad I don't use it, because if I have to, it really works for me. But I also know how heavily they dose us in America with antibiotics or anything. So for me, I have to be cautious. But I'm not one to. I think there can be a benefit from the joining of the prescription in cannabis. That cannabis will set a foundation that'll make better medicines for people and everything too. So it is something. I'm not trying to abolish myself in the sense of pills. I don't think we ever will. We're going to go into space. They're going to be very useful. It's a lot easier to take a bottle of pills than a plant walking into than the spaceship. So that kind of thought.
That's a great point.
That's kind of thought.
Balance.
We're going to need it. We're going to need them. And when they put them together, we're really going to see some great things in medicine for people.
Folks, if you gather anything from the show today, let that be it. Let that be the message from someone who's lived it. That was great. You guys take that home. That was awesome. Real true balance and harmony in the medical system. Hey, what we have is fine. We're not saying get rid of it. It's okay, but bring this in and let's find some new ground, a happy medium where we have the best of both worlds. You made some great points to justify that. That's awesome.
Thanks. Well, we're accelerating and becoming better human beings. So should our medicine. So should everything around us, So,
we touched on how cannabis benefits you medically, what your message to other veterans is. I believe you and I agree that this one study is not enough. There's so many veterans, and even if the studies are limited to PTSD, it needs to be more than just one location. So it needs to extend beyond the University of Arizona. Now, what would be your goal of cannabis legalization or a medical marijuana option for veterans and citizens? Let's say
My goal. Okay.
Well, we have the opportunity to vote yes on 2 for medical marijuana in Florida, but let's just say it's the Noel show. It's the Grassy Noel show. Who cares what's going on in Florida? Who cares what the laws are? What, in your opinion, would be the ideal situation? What does legal, medical, or even not even medical? What's your ideal scenario for being able to use this plant? Are you like myself who believes that? To me, it's not about recreational. It's not about medical. To me, it's just common sense. To me, it's spiritual. Like, I believe God tells me to use cannabis. Like, I believe it should be totally decriminalized, and not just for medical or recreation and tax. I believe that I should be able to grow it in my backyard and do with it what I want. What's your sentiment?
Well, my belief it is. It's in our genetic coding. I've seen enough programs to know that recognize that we have the cannabinoid that's actually a part of us. So that, as far as marijuana, personally, I think it's less harmful. I mean, I have a horticulturist friend, and right now I'm asking him to make me a list of all the plants that I can go buy in a nursery that, if I consume them in some way or make tea, will produce an hallucinogen. There are a lot of plants at Home Depot in a nursery or Lowe's or whatever you go buy, you can plant that you can create hallucinogen and even worse effects, death. But we sell those legally. They're out there sitting there like nothing. So I think it's the stigma, like anything. The big word is the stigma on marijuana. When people realize how safe it is, how unnecessary it is to be so afraid of it, personally, I want to see it growing on the freeway. I want to see it growing. If you break down, walk over, crack open a little plant, if you got to wait for AAA, whatever. It's that harmless of a plant to me. I want, when this passed yes on 2, the legalization, as far as I want to see, I want to grow it. I don't want to be left with only 21 nurseries in Florida right now tentatively are allowed to grow it when it is, because it's going to be legalized. I'm not if, I'm on a when. So when it's legalized. So that being said, but those 21 people are controlling the quality, they're controlling the price. Everything in here starts to control, and that's one thing I've been against is control points. It's a plant that grows anywhere easily. I can throw it in my backyard. Let me do myself. Let me medicate. I'm the one that spent 23 years finding out works for me. I'm the one that went around the world. I'm the one that, for myself, that, for ventured, and veterans have done that too. We have to let the person take control of themselves. We have to let people have self-control. And that's what I'm about. I'm not about control totally on a government. We do need control because people don't have it.
Balance.
But I'm a person that has self-control, and if I want to grow it and can provide the proper in my home to grow it, and it creates jobs. I'm going to have people come over and have to take care of the plant. There's all kinds of things that could be done with it. When we grow it massively, could you imagine donating, putting your hemp stock, your hemp on the end of your driveway to be picked up like recycling, because then they can use it in the system.
Like we used to when we used to pay our taxes with hemp?
Yeah, people would be laying, you'd be laying just stalks of hemp at the end of your driveway that they could use to make fuel. They'd all go to your schools. We're self-supporting our community, and that's the way I believe it. I don't like to give something that was here before me control to somebody. You let me have control. But you do need to dictate that those people that don't have self-control
you got to
need to be
draw
watched.
A really big box and let us operate
balance again,
it.
but you have to balance. The people that can prove it should be allowed to operate accordingly. We do that with everything else. We do that with guns. We do that with all kinds of things. Driving a car, it's that same sort of thing. Don't take that from me. And so that's, again, I agree in a balance.
So cannabis use for you is a God-given right.
Oh, exactly. Yes,
Okay.
It was here before me. It was one of the things when my species, as far as a human being, came on this planet. This is for you. This is for you to get. You're going to have to go through some times. You're going to have to deal with things, and this is what's here for you. Sure.
Awesome. Now, please tell us your story of how you designed your van, the motivation behind it, and where you went across America to spread your medical marijuana message.
Okay. How I designed my van came from just an attitude of mine. And being handicapped, one thing I've always heard of, if you can't stand up, stand out. So that's what we do. So I went and designed this van, and I knew, since I felt after what happened to me in my hometown, and I'll explain that here a little bit, the motivation, but I knew that loud is proud. That's another thing in the military. If you're going to stand up, loud is proud, so make it hint.
That motto is welcome here at Talk Wild Studios.
Well, that's why I went with the big lettering, and I knew I was so mad with what happened to me. And it didn't happen from people that I didn't trust. What happened to me happened from people I did trust. That's what made it so devastating. People that I look up to. People that actually wear or wore a uniform with a badge that were out to protect
your
me.
Your brothers.
And they,
your
and
protectors.
People I grew up in their homes, that I looked up to, that to me, wearing a uniform, you're at a higher standard, so you're kept at a higher standard. You're not allowed to abuse the law. You were 10 times punished if you abuse the law because you wear a badge, what you stand for. It was the same thing for me in the Navy. Do you think I go overseas and if I did something that the Navy wouldn't slam me besides that country? You're representing. Same thing. An officer is representing the community. And I was, through I mean, because the way that our society works with drug, the underground, whatever, there are connections between gangs and cops and all that to keep things going. It is truly my belief cops know where the drugs are. They don't bust those places because they get a kickback and nothing's really around political time. You might see something. But most of the time, you don't see that. It operates because I agree, like police and like the gangs, drugs are here to stay. You're not going to get rid of them. So it's better to control them and watch them, and that's what they do. So in that sense, when I came out speaking about marijuana, I'm going into people's pockets, and that's what happened. In my hometown, I was drugged and thrown in jail. I woke up 10 o'clock at night without my wheelchair, had to drag myself around Pinellas County Jail without a wheelchair. I had blood running out of my ankles because I was bare on my ankles, and it was rubbing up against the concrete. And for 10 years now plus, I've been battling cellulitis in my feet because of it. And this was people
Yeah. So, in one statement, what happened to you? Why were you put in jail? And why were you forcibly removed from your wheelchair?
Well, I think because the person I was talking to, I used to meet with regularly, and that's where it led into. I mean,
so you're a healthcare advocate. You were confiding that you use cannabis?
No, I was confiding to a retired police officer.
Okay.
Is what I was doing. And I felt somehow that led to it because...
You were betrayed.
Yeah, I had an incident that happened to me before because of a prescription, and I immediately stopped taking that prescription. I relayed that story to this person, and guess what? The same thing happened to me. And it was not by my own fault. I was invited somewhere, and I woke up in jail at 10 o'clock at night, something like that, with a headache. I've never had a headache except like when that happened before. So that's what did it for me. That was my motivation, that I wasn't going to be quiet, because this was to me my lesson. Hey, cripple, you're not going to mess with my pocketbook, whatever it is, or the people I protect, because this is South, this is old Florida, this is old. Come on, I'm just not going to be an idiot about how things can work. But you know what? I'm fighting for my quality of life. I wasn't a dealer moving into the area. I'm just talking about my quality of life, and I was told to shut down, shut up, and that's what made me get the van, because I am a soldier of the Constitution. I am a soldier of this country. I love this country. You're all my brothers and sisters, but I'll kick you in the ass if you don't get doing your job, because that's what it is. You can't be lax as an American. You have duties every day. To me, you take the law in your hands every day when you get behind the car and drive, when you do everything. They talk about don't do that. We do take the law in our hands every day. So this is my motivation. I love this country. People have asked me, well, they're doing it in California. Why don't you move there? I'm a Floridian. I was born here. It'll work here. We're going to get it here. And that's why I'm fighting for it. That's why I'm fighting for it for all the country, everybody. And that's why I say we are not done till 50 or 1.
Awesome. You're not going to hear a Memorial Day message from a veteran anywhere else like you heard right here. Thank you to Talk Wild Studios for hosting the Captain Cannabis Show. Thank you, Noel, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you, Captain.
And fighting the good fight. And finally, what do you want to tell the listeners of the Captain Cannabis Show about upcoming opportunities to vote for legal medical marijuana in Florida? And what would you like to say to veterans in honor of Memorial Day in closing?
Well, I say keep your eyes out. You're going to see us with the Yes On 2. That's always going to be a big thing there. Yeah, always.
This is how we roll.
That's all you need to know for the November vote. So you're going to be seeing us. You're going to see us over the summer. You see the van, beep. When you see the van, we always like to beep back. If you need a sticker, let us know. We are going to be out there. You're seeing more of us at the events. We're picking up. You're really going to see us come probably after the summer. When it comes to September and people are back in school, you're really going to see us turn it on. But right now we'll be cruising all over the state during the summer and hopefully the United States. And my message to the veterans is I love you. I love you, brothers. I love what you've done. No matter what you have to go do for fighting for this country, you're always welcome back in this man's home. You're an American. You matter, and you need to speak up and fight. Your family, you come back from these times, and family doesn't know sometimes how to handle the veteran because they've changed, and they need to speak up too. We need to get that out there. These people are important. They've done the most incredible job for us, whether good or bad, whatever reasons are. We sent them there. We need to take care of our own. We're one of the few countries that doesn't seem to do that with our veterans. And we really need to change that, really up there. So,
and we can repair some of that damage, and we can honor our veterans through an expanded PTSD cannabis testing program, and we can honor the veterans right here in Florida by making cannabis available to them medically, as you can see with your own eyes, living proof. Cannabis helps heal, restore, and improve the quality of life of citizens and veterans. This gentleman, Grassy Noel of GrassyNoel.org, is living proof, and you'll see him around Pinellas, Pasco, Hillsborough, across Florida, or maybe on a highway coming to your state to spread the message of medical marijuana. It's been a pleasure. Glad to have you on the show, and I'd love to have you back. And happy Memorial Day to all the veterans out there. God bless you, and keep smoking.
Happy Memorial Day. Yeah, thank you, Captain.
This program was brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization, setting the standard for new media broadcasting.